Learn how to learn with the only skill that matters. Learning isn't as easy as simply reading something and then boom. You know it, you remember it, you're a pro. Learning comes down to understanding, memorizing, using and being motivated to do it in the first place. The only skill that matters scratches the surface of learning and teaches us how to learn in a more effective way. Not only will you be able to read faster and save time, but you'll retain that information for use in the near future. The SuperLearner series has helped more than 200,000 students towards success, and the easy-to-follow, logical information contained within this book will help you to tap into your own learning potential and help you to shoot for the stars. You don't have to struggle, you don't always have to wish that you could learn faster, it's already within you. Are you suffering from information overload? In modern times, we are overloaded with information coming at us from left, right, and center. In just 1 year alone we see around 600,000 new books published, and those are only the English ones. In addition, we have digital media, news and TV media, and all of it enters our brains and causes us to feel more than a little overwhelmed. I need not scare you with the statistics of how many millions of posts, tweets, videos and podcasts are shared every day on the internet, because the chances are, you felt it. Jonathan A. Levi. It's draining, it's tiring, and it forces you to feel pressured into understanding everything that comes your way. More than ever before we have to know far more in our individual fields, and if you want to stay ahead of the game and beat the promotion competition, it's on you to learn at a faster pace and in a more effective way. As a result, we have very little time for the fun things in life, such as reading for the pure pleasure of it. We are bombarded with information every single day, but most of it is useless to us individually. Did you know? There are 500 million new tweets on Twitter every single day. Were you ever taught how to learn? As we go through life we need to learn several different skills, but perhaps the most important of them all is how to learn in the first place. Did anyone ever sit you down and teach you how to learn? No. We simply go ahead and try to learn, but nobody ever teaches us how to learn in the first place. Levi references Maslow's hierarchy of needs, which explains that our basic needs have to be met before we can think about the next set. For instance, we need to sleep, eat and drink, and then we need to feel safe. After that we need to feel wanted and loved, then we need to develop self-esteem, which eventually leads us toward meeting our potential. Effective learning is exactly the same. Levi had a hard time at school and as a child, but understanding how to take on and maintain information helped him to keep up with his peers, and then eventually overtake them. After all, if you can learn effectively, you can learn, or become, anything you want. Jonathan A. Levi. Did you know? Maslow's hierarchy of needs was developed in 1943 and is used regularly even today. The best way to learn is by doing. Our cavemen and cavewomen ancestors did not learn by reading textbooks, they learned by doing things and understanding the right and wrong way by experience. Approaching learning in the same way will help you to absorb more information. Our ancestors began to learn the important skills in life via their senses, mainly their smell, taste, and sight. These kept them safe from predators and helped them develop important hunting skills, which aided survival. You can do exactly the same when approaching learning these days. Learning how to do something by doing is more effective than learning how to do it by reading. Many studies have shown that people learn far better when feeling strong positive emotions and when they find the subject matter interesting and fun. The 6 aspects of learning. Adult learning is quite different from childhood learning. Children start with a fresh canvas, and that means that they need to build up their experiences as they go through life. However, adults already have certain experiences that can be in conflict with new knowledge if it's not explained properly, and if experience isn't linked to what they're learning about. Levi's mother told him that, if it's not in the hands, it's not in the head, meaning that unless you've done it or you're doing it, it's not possible to learn. You basically need to have experience in order to learn effectively. Here are the main aspects of adults learning: a foundation, e.g. the ability to link together previous experience with what you're learning. A reason to learn. Adults need to know why they're learning something, otherwise they lose interest, e.g. how is this going to help me reach my goal, when you're going to use the information. An adult needs to be able to use the information in the near future, otherwise it loses power. Linked in to solving a problem, with the ability to know what is being learnt is useful. Self-involvement. There is nothing worse than trying to learn from a YouTube video. You need to be involved in the process, motivation to learn, by understanding how learning is going to make life better. Children learn faster than adults do because their prefrontal cortex isn't as developed. Adults see things as they are because of this, but children use their imagination. Why planning is vital. Levi tells us about the time he began to learn Russian. He thought he was good enough to converse with locals, so he went to Moscow and quickly realized that he wasn't as good as he thought. He hadn't seen the bigger picture and realized that grammar changes in conversation. This comes down to bad planning. A good way to do that is to ask yourself several questions before you start the learning experience, including questioning why you're learning that information in the first place. This helps to attach meaning to what you're doing. Then, you should ask yourself what level of knowledge or general understanding you need. It may be that you don't need in-depth knowledge, but just like Levi when trying to learn Russian, there might be a certain depth you do need to know about. From there, you should work to break the information down into easy-to-manage parts and in the right order. You should also plan out how you're going to access the information you need to learn, how long it will take you to realistically gain the knowledge, and you also need a plan B, just in case things don't turn out as you expected. Did you know? Motivation is mainly associated with the cerebral cortex, which is where the reward center is situated in the brain. Visualize your way to a better memory. It's no good learning new information if you're not able to retain the information in your memory. The problem is, most of us don't have a great memory. However, there are several ways to boost your memory effectiveness, and one of the best is by using visualization. This basically comes down to imagining pictures in your mind, linked to the information you're trying to remember. Then, you need to make the image in your mind as obscure and memorable as possible. This is a marker and will help you to remember many different things. Using visualization in this way has its roots in Hebb's law. This says that when you link information together, the neurons in your brain fire up and link together, therefore helping you to remember one thing and then the other thing it is linked to. It's a very effective way to learn several pieces of information linked together. For example, if you wanted to remember the names Michael and Alice, perhaps because they're your new work colleagues, you could visualize Michael Jackson. Picture him in all his finery, strutting across the stage, but the stage could be your workplace, which links it back into the place where Michael actually is in your real life. Then, suddenly out of nowhere, Alice in Wonderland grabs Michael and pulls him down the rabbit hole, which exists in the office canteen. That rather obscure and strange image will help you remember their names. Did you know? Using visualization exercises for just 10 minutes can help you improve your learning outcomes. Use your own memory palace to boost your memory. Another useful way to boost your memory and remember a large amount of information at one time is to use the loci method, better known as memory palaces. A memory palace is a picture you create in your mind and you then explore that image, planting markers to help you remember a sequence of information. Levi used this method to help him remember his TED Talk, and it worked very well. Your base, or your palace, needs to be somewhere you've been before, so you can really visualize it in your mind. This could be an old workplace, a restaurant you've visited, or an old home. Plan out your memory palace on a piece of paper first, before you start exploring it in your mind. This helps you to remember information in the right order. For example, perhaps you're trying to remember a speech, as Levi did, and you would then explore the palace in your mind, planting markers around the place to help you trigger memory markers. This would then allow you to deliver your speech in the right order, including all the correct information. You will improve the more you use this method, however planning it out beforehand will help you to become more effective. Did you know? The memory palace technique is also called the Roman room technique and dates back to the ancient Greeks and Romans. How SQ3R helps you. Many American educational institutes now use the SQ3R method to help students study and memorize information. SQ3R is actually an acronym which stands for Survey, Question, Read, Recall, Review. When using this method, you will skim read the information you need to learn, you then question why you need to learn this information, attaching meaning to it. Then, you read it properly, before trying to remember what you've read, e.g. recall. After that, you review your new information by looking at it from different points of view. This is a good method because it helps you to prepare for learning, therefore priming your brain in an effective way. Did you know? Speed reading and skimming are useful ways to pick out important information from a text and prime your brain for learning. Cross-pollinate your learning efforts. You might think that it's counterproductive to try and learn more than one thing at once, confusing your brain and making it harder to remember different pieces of information, but the opposite is actually true. It's a good idea to try and learn more than one thing, and the reason is called cross-pollination. The more you try and learn anything, the more you're preparing your brain to be in the right space to absorb knowledge. The idea of cross-pollination is that one subject will always overlap with another in some way. For instance, if you want to learn how to become a better public speaker, you could also think about learning body language techniques as well as how to show confidence. Teach others and learn more yourself. To teach is to learn twice over. Joseph Joubert. Teaching other people or sharing your knowledge can benefit your own learning efforts. Explaining something to another person motivates you to learn it properly. Also, when you learn something and then explain it, you're actually learning twice because you're opening yourself up to the other person's perspective of that information. This can help to improve your own understanding and broaden your view of it. Of course, you also don't want to embarrass yourself if you're going to be sharing information with another person, so it increases the stakes and means you're motivated to really understand the subject, inside and out. Did you know? Reading for just 30 minutes every day could help improve your EQ and reduce your stress levels. Conclusion. Understanding that learning is a skill of its own will allow you to learn information and new knowledge far more effectively. When we start school and we're studying new subjects, we simply get on with it, never really stopping to think about the best ways to take that information and understand it. As we grow, we're bombarded with information and the pressure to understand it all can be overwhelming. By taking a step back and understanding how to learn and how to improve your memory in order to retain that information, you'll find that you not only understand more, but you retain it too. Try this, identify the reason why you want to learn something, how is it going to help you reach your end goals? Instead of reading about something, get your hands dirty and actually do it. Learning by trial and error is far more effective. When reading a new piece of information, skim read it before you delve into it, it will prepare your brain to take on new information.